All right, let's go more in depth now. Cassie joins us now in studio. Cassie, you cover California. My colleague Karina Capabianca, you cover Florida. Cassie, 5 days to get federal aid after Hurricane Katrina. You think about that now, it's pretty unimaginable. What are the conditions that some of these Republicans are looking for to get to tie with disaster aid for California?
I mean, the short answer is they want California to change some of its policies, right? You heard from Rick Grinnell in my stories talking about squeezing California, making sure they didn't get federal aid. One of the changes that he is proposing is getting rid of the California Coastal Commission. That is an organization within the state that was created by voters to protect the coastline. That has nothing to do with fire aid, fire mitigation, trying to prevent wildfires in the future. And that's why Democrats are so angry. They're saying, listen, we can try to find ways to better prevent wildfires or better predict them, but these conditions have absolutely nothing to do with getting people that have been, lives destroyed by these fires, getting them the aid that they need.
California, a solid Democratic state. Florida now has pretty much become a solid Republican state. You're not hearing those conversations, stipulations for any aid in Florida?
Yeah, no, not really at this time. And really, when you think about it, depending on how this unfolds with FEMA and some of the proposals that we've heard to dismantle it or have states, more in depth in their response to it, I think it's really going to depend on how well these states are equipped as far as resources and staffing.
I mean, the three biggest states are probably Florida, Texas, California. Three states also that deal with disasters on a regular basis, natural disasters. Could Florida handle responses to natural disasters if FEMA was out of the equation?
Well, it's interesting because the Florida Division of Emergency Management leader was on Capitol Hill testifying at a hearing, and even he said that there's going to need to be some federal assistance or some federal support, even for states like Florida that are more well-equipped than others.
Yeah, and there is legislation in Congress that would change how FEMA works. We'll talk about that right after the break. Stay with us, Capitol Tonight. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us here on Capitol Tonight. I'm Ruben Jones in our D.C. studio this evening. We've spent most of the show talking about FEMA, talking about disaster recovery. Why? Because they are a big focus in Congress right now. There's even talk of getting rid of FEMA altogether. For more on all of this, we're joined by my colleagues, Cassie Simeon, Karina Capabianca. Karina, you cover Florida. Cassie, you cover California, two states that know natural disasters really well. Look, before the break, we were talking about FEMA. Karina, there is legislation, bipartisan legislation, that would change how FEMA operates. Tell us real quick what that would do.
Yeah, so it's a proposal by Jared Moskowitz, a Democrat from Florida, and Byron Donalds, a Republican from Florida. And the goal is to make FEMA a cabinet-level independent agency. There was a similar proposal last session, but didn't seem to go anywhere. And I think right now you're just waiting for leadership to sort of take their cues from the Trump administration as to what exactly they want.
Any signs of whether there's support for this in Congress?
Well, right now it just looks like those two as sponsors, so no more co-sponsors that I've seen up until now.
Cassie, is this sort of a compromise? I mean, when you took it, we had the beginning of the show, we played sound from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who said, we're going to get rid of FEMA, or plan to get rid of it. Is this sort of a compromise of, hang on a second, we can change FEMA, we don't need to get rid of it?
Well, I mean, I spoke to a lot of my California Democrats who have, of course, been begging Congress to act for wildfire relief. And I said, what do you make of Kristi Noem's suggestion of getting rid of FEMA altogether? And every single Democrat that I spoke with said, this is a horrendous idea. Obviously, California better equipped to handle some of these natural disasters than these smaller states. We can handle most of the financial burden. Of course, we still need federal support, but a lot of these smaller states would be decimated. And so one thing to remember is that FEMA used to be an independent agency before 9/11,
Sure.
before the creation of the Department of Homeland Security. So now I think while we haven't seen that many members of Congress come out to support this bill just yet, I do think there is an appetite to reform FEMA, make those changes, and move it out from under that DHS umbrella.
I mean, look, there are valid arguments, obviously, to put some of these powers in the hands of state and local governments, that maybe to get rid of some of the bureaucracy. But the concern, I imagine, from a lot of these local governments and state governments is, Okay, where's the money coming from? Are we going to have the money? And what powers will we have? What will the federal government be doing? I imagine there is concern there.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to the whole staffing issue, right? When you look at a state like California, like Florida, of course, they have better equipped, natural disaster staff, how to mitigate, how to handle cleanup, but these smaller states don't have that. And so what they need in these huge natural disasters is a team of both federal and state, employees who know how to handle a disaster, know how to handle this cleanup, especially when you're talking about a lot of this toxic waste that is left behind by these hurricanes and fires. I mean, you need to have staff that are well informed and well equipped to handle these things. And if you get rid of FEMA at the federal level, a lot of these state employees are not going to get the training they need or know how to handle these disasters when they come about. And they're coming up more and more.
3+ months, no federal disaster aid from Congress for the LA wildfires, which got so much attention when they hit in January. Cassie Simeon, thank you so much. Karina Capabianca, appreciate your time as well. And we thank you for your time at home. We're going to have a lot more tomorrow night on Capitol Tonight. We'll be back here in D.C. We'll see you then. Take care.